What's up, guys? This one should be quick today with a short card on a Monday. Yesterday, 1-1 with a slight loss, which is unfortunate. Seattle in hockey did not get there. They really got out face off ridiculously. It was Toronto won 70 something percent of face offs. It's like something you really don't see. And Toronto had way more shots on goal. Seattle won the physical battle, looking at hits, but other than that, wasn't great. So that was a loss. And then the Washington Wizards did get there for the win in NBA, covering the number. They were losing all game, but they never. The game was never out of reach. They were, I think, within the spread for more of it than they were not within the spread. So that was good enough. That got there. Denver didn't really seem to care about winning by margin. It was kind of get in, get out, which is what I thought might be the case there. Moving on to today, college basketball. I mean, there are a couple of games in the bigger conferences that are interesting games and will probably be fun to watch. Wake Forest and North Carolina, probably the biggest one being the Battle of North Carolina, and they're one of the battles of North Carolina. Wake Forest actually better than they have been in recent years, playing well, but North Carolina obviously really, really good as well. North Carolina is down from an 8.5-point favorite to an 8-point favorite. I don't really have much of an angle on this because this game is not between any other bigger games for North Carolina. So I think both of these teams are set up to be focused on this game. So it should be a pretty good one. The line movement looks like it's on the Wake Forest side, but then KenPom, if you look at his rankings, he does have North Carolina winning by more than what this number is, by 10. North Carolina, which people don't really think of them as a defensive team, but that is what they are this year. They're one of the top defenses in college basketball, and they can also score. So they are a pretty dangerous team this year. So we'll see what happens there. Wake Forest, certainly also no pushover, and a good scoring team as well. So moving to the NBA, it is a bigger NBA card, but I hate it. I hate the card. They're really, I don't see much of an angle here on any of these games at all. I am kind of wondering why the Phoenix Suns are down to 5.5 though, because they looked like they were a 9-point favorite and they're down to a 5.5-point favorite. 57% of the cash at 57% of the cash on the Suns, with 64% of the tickets on the Bulls. So it looks like the cash discrepancy is actually on the side of the Phoenix Suns, but why are they only a 5-point favorite now is kind of my question here, because they're certainly better than the Bulls than that line would indicate. They're more than a couple points better than the Bulls. Phoenix Suns just came off a nice win over the Pacers. They're on a nice win streak. They've had one day off, and they do have Dallas next, so this is a bit of a down spot for Phoenix, I would say. So my instinct would be to look to go against them, although the Bulls just came off a big win by 30, almost 30 against Memphis. Memphis now without, and that was in a return home, a single game returning home, and then having to go back out on the road again. And Memphis being without Ja again. So that was a weird, interesting scenario there, but a nice win for the Bulls, winning by so much. But I don't know what's going on with this line. I'm looking at the injury report here right now. Doesn't really look like there's anybody important out for the Suns, so it's kind of odd that the line is where it is. I'm staying away from all that, but it's just strange to me. Moving to the NHL, where you have a bit of a shorter card, there is one game that I'm playing, and the market doesn't look like it's in agreement with me right now, and I'm a little bit nervous about this one, but I'm on the Arizona Coyotes. This is my only play today. They at plus 120 something, I think. 124. It looks like you can still get numbers in that ballpark there. Pittsburgh is up from minus 134 to minus 146, though, as a road money line favorite. So they're a road money line favorite a lot on these in these road games here, which is crazy. The books are lining them as a very good team. 86% of the tickets on them and 90% of the cash. So Pittsburgh has the cash discrepancy, which also worries me, but I'm playing the spot here. I don't think it's a very good spot for Pittsburgh. They are coming off a win, or excuse me, not a win, a loss at Vegas by 1. They had 4 days off before going to the Vegas game there. So they did have a lot of days off before that. They played a tough game against Vegas 2 days ago. Now they have Arizona sandwiched in there after that. And it is true that, yes, they probably want to split the road trip because they don't want to go 0-2 on this road trip, but they do have Florida up next, although it's in 4 days. But that's a bigger game than this Arizona game. and the Vegas game is also bigger. So I'm still looking at this as a sandwich where they're coming off a pretty big effort game. And that, if you look at what happened in that game, that was a game where Pittsburgh was winning the game 2-0 into the third period and they wound up losing. So they were that close to beating the returning champs, and they actually kind of outplayed them. And they just had more penalties in the game. They were the more physical team. They had more hits, although it looks like there were no power play goals in the game. They got outshot slightly. They outfaced off Vegas. They had more hits. So Pittsburgh, but yeah, blowing a 2-0 lead in the third period at Vegas, that's pretty tough, man. Vegas being a good team still, being the returning champs, they're coming off that. They might be in a little bit of a defeated mode, and they have Florida next, like I said, but they have a bunch of days off after this. Arizona, on the other hand, I kind of think they're in a momentum spot because they returned home for a 3-game road trip, which I thought wasn't the best spot, coming off a tough battle against Vancouver to finish that road trip off. And they still beat Nashville in the return home spot. So a nice win for Arizona. And now they stay at home. They get Pittsburgh coming in 2 days later. Both teams have 1 day off, and they do also have Florida up next. But Arizona is a Western Conference team, at least. And I'm not sure they're going to overlook a Pittsburgh team that's been playing pretty well recently, coming into their house. So, a win over Nashville, not really quite as big a deal. But what that tells me is that Arizona still showed focus, even though they were in the return home spot. So I do like that fact. And I think that broke a 2-game loss streak. So I think that might help them gain some momentum here. And they're staying at home here for a second game of 2-game homestand. So I do like that aspect of it. I think they might carry more momentum into this game. So I'm on Arizona. It's the only play today. And then I will talk about those NFL games briefly there. Tampa Bay, I mean, I think the Tampa Bay Bucks did enough to cover that number. It just did not get there. And then, of course, they went for 2 at the on that last touchdown that they got there. It was just a weird move. But if you got the 6.5, if they actually got the 2-point conversion, they still would have covered the number. But Tampa Bay actually outgained Detroit in the game. And the game was close statistically. It was just Tampa Bay had 2 turnovers. Just some things did not go their way. Lions did play well, for sure. But Tampa, I mean, they could have covered the number probably. That 2-point conversion, backdooring the number would have made a lot of the bettors happy, I think, because I don't think the line ever hit 7. So I think the best you could have gone on it was 6.5. I'm glad I stayed off of it just because of the outcome, but I think Tampa, more likely than not, I would say Tampa was probably the right side there, even though it didn't get there. And I was definitely wrong about the game going under. And I was wrong about both games going under, although I think the Buffalo-Kansas City one was more in a situation where it should have gone under. I was actually surprised the offenses did as much as they did in that Bills game, but the Bills game, man, the Bills should have won that game. I think there's some NFL rigging going on there. And I'm really, I think I don't stand alone when I say that I'm sick of the Kansas City Chiefs at this point. I rode them through the playoffs last year because I liked the fact that people weren't giving them enough credit with Mahomes' ankle injury there. People downgrading them too much. So I took advantage of that in the playoffs. But this year, it just is so irritating, man. You can't watch a football game without having Taylor Swift shoved down your throat. I've never seen anything like that where, like, that never happened with any other player's like girlfriend. Like, did the Dallas Cowboys do that? Did it happen with the Dallas Cowboys when Tony Romo was dating Jessica Simpson? No, it did not happen in that situation. It didn't even happen with Tom Brady dating Giselle, I don't think, really. This is just, it's extremely irritating. We want to watch football, man. We don't want to get involved in like corporate pop music. And then the whole Kelsey thing is just totally irritating as well. It's all constant vaccine, Pfizer commercials from Travis Kelce, who's a total shill. And then you got his brother there last night, which on its own, I think it's hilarious that his brother's there shirtless and acting like an animal. Like, if that was just the only thing that was going on there and there weren't all these other circumstances surrounding it, I'd probably laugh at it and think it was hilarious. But it just adds to the whole annoyance factor of everything that's going on here. It's just because he's a Kelce. And you got Travis Kelce finally scoring a touchdown where he did not score that many this year, and he's making the heart gesture up to Taylor Swift or maybe to Jason Kelce. I don't know. Maybe there's some brotherly love going on there. I don't know. I just hate it. I can't stand any of it, and I wanted the Chiefs out. I'm going to be a big Baltimore Ravens fan this week, regardless of whether or not I have a bet on that game or not on the side. But I absolutely can't stand it. Buffalo, as far as the game was concerned, Buffalo had multiple chances to do what they needed to do in that game. There were at least 3 really crucial dropped passes, and it was not Josh Allen's fault. Josh Allen, the knock on him is he makes too many mistakes and he's not like ready for prime time. I thought he played pretty well in that game from what I saw, even though his statistics didn't look that great, but he didn't throw any interceptions. Those big drops were not on him. Like I don't know, it was just the cold. I don't know what was going on there, but there were crucial drops that really, really hurt Buffalo. And then obviously the missed field goal certainly hurt them. And that was not on Josh Allen either. Although, well, people will say, well, but Josh Allen made a couple of like bad throws prior to that to put them in the situation where they had to kick a field goal. Yeah, maybe he made a bad decision on a couple of those throws there. I think you're right. He probably should have thrown it underneath on one of those because you have time left. You have a minute, like what, almost 2 minutes left, and it's whatever. It was 2nd and 9. Like you got to convert that. It's true. He did have some opportunities, I think, to throw it underneath and come at least very close to picking up that first down. So he should have done that. He should not have fired twice at the end zone. That's just ridiculous. But I think he also thought, well, we're going to make this field goal, though. So I think that was the thought. Like, we can take shots at the end zone, try to win it here. But if we don't, I will kick a field goal. But I do think that it's more appropriate to try to get a little bit closer. But Bass is a good kicker, so you don't expect them to miss a very makeable field goal, even though it is outside in the cold. 44, it's not guaranteed, but for him, that's like probably like, I don't know. I would even say somewhere around like high 70s percentage wise. So those odds aren't bad. Maybe 80 even. I don't know. Like those, maybe 80 is too high, but Bass is a good kicker, man. So I understand the thinking on that to some extent. And then there was a pass interference call on Buffalo that extended Kansas City's drive that was prior to that, which that was on 3rd down, and that was ridiculous. The contact was just bumping the guy off the line of scrimmage. It was obviously before the pass was in the air. That was a terrible call, and the flag came in way late. So it was just the refs, like, it was almost like in basketball where the refs call a foul after they see the shot miss. Here it was, Mahomes' pass just wound up incomplete. Let's throw the flag now. No. All of that was just ridiculous. Just a lot of BS going on in that game. I absolutely hated it. I can't stand it. If I had to take my pick out of these teams left who I want to win it, it would be the Detroit Lions, just because they never win anything. They are like they're the underdog. They're the downtrodden team. And you got like Jameel Hill on ESPN when they hired Dan Campbell was like saying that it was a racist decision just because he's white and he's kind of like this. He's got this like blue collar like affect to him. I don't know, but I kind of like him in a way. I'd like the Detroit Lions to do it. I don't think it's going to happen, but I want, first and foremost, I want Kansas City to be gone. Just knock them out of the playoffs, man. End this charade. Get rid of them, please. Like, let's just get it done. Hopefully Baltimore is able to set up a situation in that game where the refs can't even like help them out and swing the game on a few plays there. But I don't know. I don't know. Something tells me Baltimore is not going to be able to totally run away with that game, but we will see what happens, though. I don't know if there's anything else I have to comment on in that Buffalo game, but there was definitely some BS going on in that game. And it was like Buffalo had the lead, I think, for more of the game than Kansas City did. And when they had the lead, they were up by 4, but Kansas City was only up by 3. It was like just back and forth. And then the back and forth just stopped like in the final like 9 minutes. It was just crazy that Buffalo never scored again after that. Just, I mean, Kansas City's defense is good, but like I said, there were some other things that were going on in that game that really, really hurt the Buffalo Bills. So that's going to do it for me, man. Only play today, Arizona Coyotes plus 124, I think is what it is. A little bit of a short video today, short Monday card. Hopefully we go 1-0. I don't know. I'm not feeling too confident in it, but I was hot before yesterday, so I had a good weekend overall. Let's keep it going, man. Have a good Monday. Good start to the week. Peace.